Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this week I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm doing a two-part series, and this is the first part where I make myself a nerdy themed top for me to wear to DragonCon this year. And I thought, what better book to listen to while I do this than a book that's based off fan fiction from Harry Potter. So I'm going to be reading Rose in Chains by Soto. So in this first part, I'm going to be picking out the fabrics and cutting out my pattern pieces, getting everything prepped, which is going to take a while. And then the second part is me actually sewing it all together and finishing the book. So if you're interested in a read-along for this book with a little bit of sewing chaos, stick around for this video. However, if you're more interested in a tutorial on how to make this dress, which I'll have the pattern linked down below, then you may want to check out my other video that I'm going to be posting on another channel of mine where it's more of a sew-along video. And I will have that link down below whenever that comes out, because obviously the dress is not done yet. So it may be a week or two. So enough talking, let's get started. Before I start the video, I just want to make a quick little disclaimer. I recorded this before any of the current drama started around Soto and discussion about her book Rose in Chains and it being based off Harry Potter fanfiction. There's been a lot of talk about whether referencing that fanfiction origin means she's connected to or supports the views of she who should not be named. Honestly, I'm not a drama person and I don't really know enough about the situation right now to speak confidently on it either way. This video is just me enjoying an arc of a book I was excited to read while making a cute top, that's all. Anyway, and here's the rest of the video. So I'm having kind of a hard time deciding what fabric to make the top out of, because I want something that's like nerdy or something. So I have a bunch of different options. I have this Spider-Man curtain, which I ultimately decided not to use because the Spider-Man on there are actually much bigger than any of like the visible patches of the fabric on my top. So he'll never like be whole anywhere, if that makes any sense. It'll just be pieces of him everywhere. I didn't think that was going to look as good. So I decided not to use this one. This would be better for like a dress, I think, because I have a lot of it. Well, I have like one whole curtain panel, which is quite a bit. Next is this SpongeBob bed sheet that I thrifted. I don't like how he's asleep in this one. I could probably use like the dream little pieces and stuff for the top, and they're small enough and everything, unlike the Spider-Man one. But I don't know, there's so much of this that I think I could probably use it for a dress, or I can make some pajamas out of it, which I think would be really cute. So once again, ultimately decided not to use this one. Next, there's some Barbie sheets, which I really thought about I was going to use. I really, like, this was like one of my top picks. But then when I actually brought it outside to lay everything out, I saw how see-through it is. And it would definitely need like a lining in it. And I just do not have time for that. But this one is a fitted sheet for a single bed. So it's pretty small. So I probably will only be able to make a top out of it. I probably don't have enough to make a dress. Next is this Ninja Turtle bed sheet. The same issue with the Barbie one. I don't have a whole lot of it, so I probably could only make like maybe a skirt or a top out of it. But also, it's really see-through. It's not near as bad as the Barbie sheet, but it's still pretty bad, so I would definitely need a liner for it, which once again, I do not have the time for. I also have this Avengers bed sheet that I thrifted, but I don't want to unravel it because I'm pretty sure it's going to be too see-through like the others. And I also have this Animal Crossing bedsheet set that I bought for really cheap. I don't think I'm going to use this either simply because I have so much of it. I really want to make a dress. Though I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the pillowcases. Next is another pretty high up in the contender list is this Marvel's fabric that I have left over from making a friend's Christmas gift. I really think this pattern would work really well with the sewing pattern that I'm using. It's also, since it's a fabric that I bought and not a bed sheet, it's a little stiffer than most of the other ones, so I think it will hold the shape nicely. It's also pretty busy fabric, so I think it will also hide any mistakes I make, like with stitching or something. So I'm not very good at stitching really cleanly yet. Another contender is this fabric here. It's a Star Wars one. I love this fabric. I think it's so pretty. And I think how small the design is keeps it from looking too busy. Also, we go to a lot of Star Wars stuff at DragonCon, so I really want to make a Star Wars something to stay on theme. However, I have a lot more of this than other fabric because I actually bought this one. And I also can just run the store and get more. So I'm thinking of making a dress out of this one instead. So last but not least is this Star Wars fabric. I really do not have much of this. You can't really tell in this video, but this is like leftovers from another project that I made for a different friend for Christmas last year. I really don't have a lot of this, so I'm not sure if the whole pattern is going to fit on here. I have since obviously done it, and got the pattern to just barely fit. But this is ultimately the one I end up picking because it fits all the like little boxes. Like I wanted Star Wars, check. I wanted something a little thicker I wouldn't have to use a lining for, check. And also get to use up some of the like leftover fabric and get it out of my stash, which is just another big check. Now here I am laying out all my pattern pieces on my fabric to see if I even have enough to make this top or not, and it's going to be tight. So I'm using this red piece of fabric to just mark where I think the second sleeve and the second side bodice piece will be on the fabric, because I only have obviously one pattern piece for that, even though I need 2 of them cut out. So I'm using this red piece of fabric to just mark where that will be to see if I even have enough room for everything. And I have just enough fabric. So as I'm making this top, I'm listening to Rose and Chains by Julie Soto. I was really fortunate and I got art from NetGalley of the audiobook, and so I'm listening to it now. I'm a little behind on it, sorry. But it was so long, I was kind of daunted by how long it was. And I really wish I had started listening to it sooner. I am obsessed with this. It is darker than what I usually like to listen to or read, but it's fascinating. The magical system is really interesting. And I know this is based off of Harry Potter fan fiction, Hermione to be exact, but I've never read Harry Potter. I mean, I've tried reading the first book, but did not get past the first chapter. And then I've seen all of the movies. And by the way, I do blame Draco Malfoy for my obsession with villains in romance novels. So this feels like this is really going full circle for me. So that just gives you a baseline of my Harry Potter knowledge. But for the most part, I can kind of tell who is who, like the big 3, and then of course Draco Malfoy. However, like other plot points and other characters, I really can't distinguish because of, like I said, I don't really know much about Harry Potter. But I'm really liking it a lot. I really think the magical system is interesting because it's heart magic versus mind magic, and I think that's really interesting. I don't see how that ties into Harry Potter because I feel like Harry Potter's magic is pretty one-sided. It's just the one kind of magic, I think, with the exception of whatever dark magic, Voldemort does or whatever. So I'm not really sure how if that's completely unique to Julie Soto, or is that something in Harry Potter that I'm just missing because it wasn't in the movies and I've not read the books maybe? I don't know. But I do really like the different magical systems, and it's not super well explained yet. I feel like it's very vague, but then again, I feel like magic would be that way. That makes sense. So I'm not mad about it. So heart magic and mind magic is kind of just what it sounds like. Heart magic is a type of magic that is tied to emotions and physical sensations. It's often linked to familiars and things called, I think it's heart springs or something. I think is what they called it. It's individuals who are essentially like a living magical battery, because of it can kind of, using up the magic kind of uses up the person in a way. Now, all that kind of part is kind of vague. And then the mind magic is associated with intellect and psychic abilities, sort of, for lack of a better word. And that's the kind of magic that the main female character uses. And then the main male character uses the heart magic. And in the story, the main female character is the air quote princess, I guess you should say, of the Fallen Kingdom. And she gets sold into sort of like slavery, where she becomes like one of these magical batteries for someone. Now, that's just a very general overview, I think, because like I said, I'm not very far in the book yet at this point. So earlier I was listening to the book like on a speaker in my apartment, but then my neighbors got home a little early, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I need to be listening to this where my neighbors can hear it. So I went ahead and put my earbuds in at this point. So it seems like this is going to be a very slow burn romance, and I'm all here for that. Sometimes that drives me nuts. So as long as they get together in this book, so this is going to be a trilogy, as long as they get together in this book, I'll be fine. But if they make me wait till the second book for them to actually get together, I'm going to have words. But I'm really enjoying it so far. There were a few spots where I was so focused on my book that I kind of forgot about my top entirely that I was working on. And so I had to pause the audiobook for a little bit to actually like focus on my top for just a smidge. Because as you'll see throughout this video, I've made a few mistakes and I completely blame Tovin Hurst for that. I read somewhere that the first half of this book is very action-based and a lot of stuff happens. In the second half of the book, not as much happens, and it's more character growth, character build-up, and the main female character coming to terms with everything that's happening to her and like her whole situation, plus all the politics and everything going on, which I am okay with because of like, one, there's so much going on that I feel like a roller coaster and I feel like I'm constantly missing something. So it'd be nice to like get a break, but also the poor female character needs a break. Bless her heart. Like give her a minute so she can process. So that's the end of part 1. If you want to stick around and watch part 2 and watch me try and sew this thing, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!